That's what you call a great big bear poop. Real big. It's actually, there's a grizzly hanging around here somewhere. He's just not let himself be seen. So many bears here, it is absolutely silly. All right. Everybody says they want a cabin in the middle of nowhere. Well, that's what it looks like. That's where I'm staying. Those are the Rocky Mountains. It's a very, very remote place. So quiet here. Now this is the mighty Fraser River. Closer to the headwaters of it, near the Alberta, British Columbia border, which is way up that way. So, it's be a good backdrop. No grizzly bears can sneak up on me too easy while I'm busy reading. Summer's slipping away up here. There was a big dusting of fresh snow in the hills behind me yesterday. It melted away today. It's coming back again. And there's actually big chunks of snow, balls of snow. I guess there must have been a landslide, snow slide up there. But there's little mini icebergs were floating down the river yesterday and today. It's kind of weird to see. But anyway, no hunting this evening. Found a big 6-point elk for a guy, a new hunter, who I've been trying to help him get one. Came close today, had it into about 15 yards away in the thick timber, and it something happened. Somebody moved, spooked, whatever, took off. Then we did a big circled around again, got him all bugling, screaming his guts out, calling back and forth, and he came into about 30 yards, and he couldn't get the shot off. So I decided to back away and leave it till tomorrow. So we have to launch the little inflatable boat you see me use in the springtime with bears. Launch that in the river, and then got to rip down the river for about, I don't know, 18 kilometers first thing in the morning, and then set up on the other side of the river and see if I can't coax them out. Had a couple young bulls come out today, got some great video. I'll have to show you guys later. And heard him screaming up on the mountain across the river, so we decided to go after him, and it didn't quite pan out. So anyway, let's get some voices heard this evening before I go to my early bedtime, because I gotta get up at 4 o'clock. Now, here's an interesting title. Saved while snowmobiling on a frozen lake in the Adirondacks. Steve, thank you for the forum. This topic, along with many others, gives open discussions without judgment or ridicule. In upstate New York, the snowfall is hard to explain. Hard to even explain unless you see it. I live in a section of New York that is called the Snow Belt. I want to pretend to be a meteorologist, but I'll try to explain. Lake Ontario often doesn't freeze. Low fronts come from Canada across open water, which rises in the form of water. Once that hits the cold air, it forms ice or snow. That has to drop somewhere. There's a 40-ish mile section that gets pounded with snow. 160 to 200 inches is common. A group of us were snowmobiling and crossing Oneida Lake, 5 miles wide by 40 miles long. We're going across, so approximately 3 miles. I just got a new helmet. I stopped to adjust it. Within 10 minutes, I'm in a whiteout conditions. My tracks of my group were covered. So I looked at my GPS, but the storm blocked my signal. older technology, for your information. I started making small circles to find tracks. First mistake. If you're safe, just sit and wait a storm will pass. Another thing I found out was whatever your dominant hand is, you naturally will drift that way if you don't correct it. I hit slush, so I hit the throttle, not wanting to sink. Next thing, I'm crossing open water. Then ice and back and forth. Oh, that sucks. This is a frickin' nightmare. I'm very familiar with landmarks on this lake, so I'm on very thin ice, and I see a bridge that is where the river flows into the lake. To the east, about 3/4 of a mile, is a shallow bay. I'm thinking, turn, and you can make it there. I let off on the throttle, which I immediately broke through the ice. I prayed right then. It's amazing how time slows down then. Oh, I prayed right then. It's amazing how time slows down then. I'm totally submerged at this point. Cold and dark is all you see. I woke up being dragged across ice and snow. I can only see a large, hairy hand under my face mask. Holy shit. I woke up next to the fireplace in my house with my wife, daughter, and in-laws drinking wine and hot chocolate. Huh? I look at my wife, and before you can say anything, she goes, "You're lucky it was snowing so hard. Next time don't park crossways in the driveway. Mom's car is stuck now. Go shovel the car out. You know, she just had knee surgery." Steve, I don't know exactly what happened. I haven't drank or ridden since that day. So in retrospect, I devoted my time to my daughter. Unfortunately, not my wife. So my life changed, and through that, my daughter graduates with a full academic scholarship to University in Syracuse. Thank you. Last night before I hit send, I fell asleep and didn't have a nightmare. First time since February 4th, 2015. What you do can never be put into words. All the good people who are here, be safe, be courteous, and treat others like you want to be treated. God bless, Tim G. Tim, that was a very friggin' bizarre twist in that crazy story, man. I don't even know what to say to that. Besides, wow. What the hell? What a nightmare on the sled, man. What a nightmare on the sled. All right. Well, thanks for that email. I'm glad it helped you out. And I hope you have no more nightmares at all. That was a crazy-ass story, man. Unexplained Encounters is the next title. This is the title of this next one. What do I keep hearing over there? Sun's going down. Unexplained Encounters. Hey, Steve. Been hard to talk about this since I've been seen as a loony ever since it happened. Well, you're in the right place now, man. The first encounter I had was back in the fall 2017. Some family of mine owned some property near Flagstaff, Arizona. I spent the weekend up there with no issue. Other than some heavy rain, I had fished and enjoyed the serene silence that echoed through the pines. The last night I was there, I decided to cruise some of the old hunting roads we used when we were kids. It was about 2200 and a heavy breeze. Scrolling through the radio stations, I picked up one that I figured was from NAU or some wacko with a ham radio. It was playing parodied news stories and was just really weird. Not some shit you'd hear on a radio station, that's for sure. A lot of the roads were closed due to the Forest Service clearing slash piles. So, being the dickhead I am, I drove over to the closure signs and continued on my way. It was a cool little trail that passed under power lines, and it was a bit of four-wheel drive required to cross that kind of terrain. A little quiet out, but that's how it is sometimes. As I drove further into the woodline, the radio started to fade and lose signal. Tough luck, but as I went to turn it off, it caught signal again, and all I heard was gibberish. Hard to describe it. Road opened up into a clearing, and as I was about to push on through the mud, a soft-spoken woman came on the net. All she said before my radio faded out once again was, "It's not safe." Starting to get goosebumps now. I decided to head back to camp. I seen a pair of eyes across the clearing that weren't cat eyes. I thought it was an elk because of the antlers. But dude, it was in a tree, standing on its hind quarters from the way the silhouette looked. was trying to haul us out of there, but I got bogged down in the mud. Looked up again and it was gone. No eyes, no nothing. I got unstuck and got the F out of there. Once I got back on the blacktop, radio picked up again. Oops. But it was a different signal. Tried to find that station again, but no dice. Haven't been out there since. Seen and killed my fair share of elk. Seen a lot of mountain lion too. They weren't neither. F that mess. Found your channel not too long ago, and I listened to just about all your videos. I don't feel too crazy talking about it now. I really appreciate what you do, man. God bless, God forbid that effing thing is ever seen again. Wow. Well, I'm not quite sure exactly what you saw, but it doesn't sound like it was fun at all. But not too many things being seen on this, reported on this channel are too fun, right? It's a safe place here to talk, you know, for all those probably thousands of people out there listening that have seen something and they're still too messed up about it to want to talk about it openly with anybody, but secretly sit there and watch everybody share here. You know what I can do right now? I can take a video, show you guys what I'm seeing. All right. So there's you guys. And that's looking down the river. That's what I'm seeing. Guess I'm looking south. That is the view of the day right there. The evening. There you go. Thought I'd throw that in there. Anyway, let's get another one heard. I finish off with the cabin. I got a bunch of stuff to do, and I think I might be heading the opposite direction this evening to stay for the night, so I don't have to drive an hour in the morning. New Mexico Bigfoot story, 2003. Hey Steve, Eddie from New Mexico here. I've been sitting on this story, which I've shared with friends and family over the years, but I think I had it entirely wrong until I came across your amazing videos. I had it entirely all wrong. Excuse me, until I came across your amazing videos. First and foremost, thank you for everything you do and telling the truth at any and all cost. My wife and I watch your videos daily, but more importantly, we listen. Now, I'm 35 years old today, and this story happened circa 0203. Happy birthday, man. Belated. The Beastie Badlands are an area here close to my dusty little town in Farmington, New Mexico, in the northwest corners of our state, in the Four Corners area bordering the states of Colorado, Arizona, and Utah. The more and more I've done the deep dive into the subject, listening to stories from people in area or even just north of us to Colorado, where Durango is 45 minutes from our own, and even Pagosa Springs and Silverton, Colorado, which I've heard you speak of in emails that have been sent to you, have made me take a real hard look back and remember everything that happened on that crazy day and night that I'll never forget. Now let's get back to my story in the Beastie Badlands. Reservation of the First Nations people in my area known as the Navajo. My friends and I went for a hike into the Badlands, and I must mention, I had to be 17 or 18 years old and didn't have the mature mind on me that I do today. So after our hiking, being teenage kids, we hopped back in the car and being young, reckless teenagers, we drove off onto an area where vehicles are prohibited and do some donuts. Basically, we just drive past the parking area of the state park where your car or truck is supposed to stay. Now, we park the car in a spot and hike up a hill to go watch the sunset. Now, this is where the story gets very, very interesting looking back. And to this day, I can never return to this area without heavily thinking of everything that took place that evening. For years, my interpretation of what happened was that I maybe drove over an ancient burial ground and offended the spirits of the ancient Navajo tribe, and we had an interaction with a skinwalker. But like I said, after countless stories from your videos, I fully believe it was an encounter with Sasquatch beings, so here it goes. As my friends and I are watching the sunset, mind you, my girlfriend at the time, Brooke, my two buddies, Paul and Matt, and my faithful dog, Star, a German Shepherd Labrador mix, on top of this hill out of nowhere, from what had been a clear and calm day, a violent windstorm picked up out of nowhere, and we were pelted with tiny grains of sand in droves for the better part of 10 minutes. Finally, we all agree, okay, it's time to go. We make our way down the hill, and my buddy Matt slips and falls and rolls his ankle. We later learned it was a nasty sprain that'll come into play at the end of the story. So Paul and I now have to put his arms over each of our shoulders so we can help him walk back to the car with us. Now, about 5-10 minutes later, we reach the vehicle. Strange thing is, my car now won't start. I'd never had any problems before with this little vehicle. My father had purchased for my 16th birthday. I never had an issue thereafter. So this goes on for about 20 minutes. I try to turn the key over, and you just got the clicking noise. Finally, the ignition turns over. I put it in reverse to back up and leave, and the back tire starts spinning and dig me into what is now us being stuck in a little ditch that wasn't there. My tires just created it. So, get out of the car to how bad it is, and we are dug in pretty good. Not prepared for this, as the sun is pretty much now set and darkness fills the landscape. We collectively all exit the car to figure out what to do next. Here's where it gets very, very interesting. My dog Star would not jump back out with us and is shaking like a leaf on a tree in the front seat. We tell Matt to get back in the car and sit since his ankle is killing him, and the three of us try starting a fire, and I swear to you, the wind had calmed down and the night was still, and no matter what we did, the fire would not start. I'm telling you, I was in high school at the time, had my backpack and notebooks inside, and we had lighters. We broke branches off the sagebrush all around us for kindling, and it was like some kind of spiritual Avancine force, some kind of spiritual Avancine, sorry, it's getting dark, my attention's getting drawn over here. Evanescence force, okay, that's enough of that word for me, was at work keeping us from being able to start this fire. So Britt goes back in the car to comfort Star, and Matt is in the back seat. Paul and I have the tire iron in our hands to dig us out of the situation we're in, and that is when the snapping of the twigs or branches begin. North, south, east, and west, coming from all sides of us. Paul and I keep digging and ignore, don't say anything to each other for about 15, maybe 20 minutes till the growling started. So, finally I say, okay, is it just me, all this shit, or is somebody out there effing with us? And that's when Matt and B exit the car. Star is still inside, shaking intensely, feeling something with her canine sixth sense. The overwhelming sense of fear or flight response is in high gear. I remember telling everyone it sounds like a man imitating an animal. That is no animals growling at us. In this area, we're miles from civilization. Our town is a good 40 plus miles away. So I remember Paul saying, who would be out this far epping with us? Matt and B now out of the car. You can see the fear on their faces. I tell Brooke to get in the driver's seat, and we'll all push and try to get us out of there after digging for almost half an hour. That is when the growling and twig breaking uptick began. Whatever this was had us for the taking, but it seemed as it was more than one, wanted to scare the hell out of us, and they were doing just that. The tires kept spinning, so I thought to myself, we need traction. So we got the rubber mats for our feet in the back seat of the car and placed them underneath each tire. Mind you, the twigs snapping, low guttural growling, north, south, east, west still going on, but gradually getting louder from how much closer they're getting to us. So I tell Brooke, okay, on the count of 3, you hit the gas and we'll push. Matt, my bud, remember, has a rolled ankle, is so scared even he on one leg joins Paul and I in the push because even he is shitting bricks, scared the way we all are, and experienced immense pain, but the fear in the air is so palpable, even he wants to help do his part to get us the hell out of there. Steve, I swear to you, then finally, in that 3 seconds as I count 1, the twigs uptick breaking is coming from all directions. 2, low guttural growling is now sounding like a scream is about to erupt from all sides of us. And when I said 3, counting loudly, in that split second before I said 3, it sounded like a tree trunk split in half. Mind you, there are really only petrified trees out in the beastie Badlands. A sound so loud it was deafening. Needless to say, B hit the gas as hit the gas, there's a few typos. The three of us pushed and the car released from being stuck. Brooke probably drove for a good 15 seconds as we chased the car in the dark. That is how terrified she was, because we were all experiencing this. Then finally she stopped. We all jumped in, helping Matt into the car, and thus we hit the gas and hauled ass out of there. Now in our area, skinwalkers, which I mentioned above, are black magic Native American witchcraft superstition, and I was believed maybe we had offended the spirits that day, and that is what we experienced. I know we got no visuals of what we were hearing or experiencing, but I can't tell how enough. I truly now believe it was a family of Sasquatch that did appreciate us messing around the way we were that day, and made us pay for it by scaring the ever-loving hell out of us. Several years back in 2019, I was bartending at our local brewery here in town, and I had these guys who were not local or my regular patrons. So like I always do, just chatting, getting to know people, which is a huge part of my job. I asked them, where are you guys from? What brings you to town? Long story short, to wrap all this up, they told me they were students from one of our state's big colleges out of Albuquerque. And they were here with their professor as a small crew who had been given a grant, as well as granted access by the Navajo Nation to study the Bigfoot family that existed in an area that was on the outskirts of our little town that was literally in between the Beastie Badlands and Farmington, New Mexico, along the Animas River, not 20 miles from where the very story I shared with you took place. Needless to say, I shared my story with them, and they shared some photographs with me that were truly remarkable. There's a family of three. The big male, the female, and the juvenile is what they referred to it as. Now, I don't believe these were the same exact Sasquatch who came into contact 20 years previous, but it was astonishing to bring it at full circle. The most stunning fact to me was that they also told me the deal was with the Navajo Nation that they could not go public with their findings. Funny how that works, eh, buddy? Last year, coming across your channel and doing a deep dive in all your stories going back several years, from hearing your own encounter to your grandfather's and everyone in between. I hope this email inspires someone to share something they have been sitting on for years in publicly, such as I have this morning. Sorry, I'm reading it the way it's typed. I know this is a long one, no actual Bigfoot sighting with my eyes, but nonetheless, it was terrifying, bone-chilling experience, and Steve, I thank you again for giving us all a platform to be honest. The truth is paramount in life. I see all that is happening in Canada and around the world, my friend. Excuse me. Prayers to you and yours, and nothing but love, respect, and support from us here in the States. My eyes are open, and if anything ever happens again, I'll be sure to email. Your friend from New Mexico, Eddie J. Eddie, I think I'm pretty sure I read that one before. I don't mind reading it again. And I can't go and read another one because it's going to be dark in minutes. I got a ways to go to get back, and I'm 100% alone. I'm the only one for a long ways right now. I don't know if anybody actually knows where I am, really. So anyway, that's interesting. If you're listening again, you should email us in the description of what you saw in those photos. And that's something else. It's hard to picture any university at all today respecting the wishes of any band, tribe, and saying, "Oh no, we won't do anything with the information you're going to share with us. We'll respect your wishes for sure." Said no university or college ever. Yeah, right? Well, you never know. Anyway, whoever's out there needing an ear, whoever's out there needing to share it, do it here. Just do it. Get it off your chest and lose that burden. Share it with the people here that know you're telling the truth, and the tens of thousands of people that have experienced the same thing. Anyway, I better get going. Time is flying, I don't know why. And I got a big day tomorrow. I got one more day to try to get that big bull for this guy, and then I have to carry on farther north, farther remote. And I'm going to share the whole way. And how am I getting this shared? I'm going to possibly go to town tonight and use Wi-Fi. And then, because that's where we got to put the boat in, way up. An hour away, hour down the highway, whatever. And I'll see if I can't get the Wi-Fi going quick enough and get it shared on that while I'm there. You never know. Either way, I'm sure you guys will see this sometime. Where I'll be by the time you're watching this, who knows? You know what, I imagine I'll be back